Psalm 146:3. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Are you putting your trust in Trump to make America great again? Well, I feel your pain, but I'm sad to break it to you. Trump cannot make America great again. And here's why. America, as you and I know it, is in serious trouble before God. We're talking about the nation that at the present moment, we have murdered millions and millions and millions of children via abortion. The Democratic Party, the racist Democratic Party, and I have a video on that, I'll have the link on the screen, is creating genocide in the black community, genocide in the Hispanic community, and even in the poor white communities as well. So that alone, the Bible tells us in Leviticus 18:21, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. The murdering of our offspring. But let's also talk about something else that occurred during the Republican National Convention. And understand that I am a person who every 4 years I re-examine myself and I test all things. Donald Trump is a candidate that I've actually prayed for. I've prayed that he doesn't die himself. I've actually prayed for that in the sense of being killed and murdered. Because of the things that he was saying. He was saying a lot of things that, wow, you know what? This is some anti-establishment type of stuff, right? Alex Jones would tell you he's going to defeat the New World Order, right? Well, I just hate to break it to some of you brothers and sisters in the Lord. I know how tempting it is because you think that he's anti-establishment. But did you hear this in the Republican National Convention or whatever you want to call it? Did you hear what he said? Let me play you what he said.
Of course, every American has a unique identity. I am proud to be gay. I am proud to be a Republican. But most of all, I am proud to be an American.
That was Peter Thiel, billionaire co-founder of PayPal, speaking to the convention earlier. An interesting moment, and I'm going to turn to my panel here for their impressions of the crowd's reaction as Peter Thiel delivered those lines. Major, what did you observe?
So I think one of the things that you can say about the Trump faction of the Republican Party, which we now know is a very large faction, is they are not as hung up about some of these issues as other sections of the old Republican Party. I mean, one of the things that Ted Cruz talked about when this issue of transgender bathrooms, he hit that issue relentlessly to very minimal effect. And Trump did not. Trump sort of danced around it, but you can more or less tell whatever he was saying, he was not opposed to it, and he wasn't going to invest any political capital or outrage in it at all.
Right.
He just doesn't care. And in talking to Trump supporters, they really do want a kind of core reductionist to things that matter most in their lives. What are my wages? What is my economic future? And what is my security? And that's basically it. Anything else that is used as a more commonly deployed wedge issue doesn't really cut it for them.
Yeah.
And I thought the reaction tonight to both Peter Thiel and then what Trump himself said about the LGBTQ community
Yes.
reflected that.
Let's go ahead and actually play that for our viewers, and then let's talk about that. This was a moment during Donald Trump's speech. Let's take a listen.
As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me. And I have to say, as a Republican, it is so nice to hear you cheering for what I just said. Thank you.
During that convention, he basically stated that he is going to fight for the rights of the LGBTQ community and going to fight against those who oppress such community. If you're a disciple of Christ, just let that sink in for a moment. What are the reasons that America is going through what it's going through, aside from abortion and the murdering of children? The homosexual agenda. The agenda that aims to destroy you as a person, as a family. The agenda that now allows men to go in girls' restrooms. Yeah, that's now legal. Okay. Obama's even signing decrees that if schools do not adhere to his policies, they will lose funding. And here you have the quote-unquote anti-establishment candidate supporting the same things that the establishment is supporting. They even had PayPal founder, the homosexual PayPal founder, also speaking on there. And what happened at the Republican convention? A standing ovation. What happened when Trump said that he's going to fight for their rights? A standing ovation. A standing ovation during that whole Coliseum. I wonder if there are Christians that are clapping at that. Because those Christians, they're the ones who are considered to oppress the homosexual community. So when you're there clapping, yeah, you're clapping for your own destruction. But you don't want to hear that. I understand you don't want to hear that. I know that this is not popular to say because of the fact that, hey, he has a vice president who says he's a Christian, and his vice president has had a decent track record. But let me share with you something. If you are a disciple of Christ and you vote for Donald Trump, you're voting for what he stands for. And he is clearly telling you that he stands to defend the homosexual movement. And if you're a disciple of Christ, do you think that's something Jesus would vote for? Just an honest question. I personally think not. Many people would say of lesser of two evils, choose one. Not really. That's not something that I would say. Of lesser of two evils, I choose none. Evil plus evil, no, I don't want none of it. So can Trump make America great again? He can't. He won't. Where's your anti-establishment leader at now that North Carolina was left without an all-star game because of their stance on homosexual situations, right? With the restroom thing. In fact, where are any Republican leaders speaking out against that? Oh, they're not, right? Oh, I forgot, right? Yeah. But they're anti-establishment. Remember, they're anti-establishment. They're going to defeat the New World Order, right? Yeah, okay. Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and they write grievousness which they have prescribed. You see, the Proverbs 29:2 says as well, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The sins of America. Let's go in deeper into this. There are many of you who do not want to talk about the sins of America. You want to make America great again, right? All right, let's talk about the sins of America. Abortion, one of them. The homosexual community, another. But let's talk about the thousands of people who we've murdered in the name of oil. You see, because when an Islamic person, and by all means, Islam is a religion of devils and of demons. But when an Islamist person kills 50 people, we call it terrorism. And by all means, it's not only terrorism, it's murder, and it's uncalled for. And I disagree with that 100% of the way. When America goes over there and murders thousands, including children which are innocent and have nothing to do with anything, that's just casualties of war. But guess what? We're America, land of the brave.
What exactly is a drone? Some will tell you a drone is a surveillance tool meant to watch over a nation. Others might say it's an innovative gizmo for delivering products. Even more probably, will tell you a drone is a lethal ghost hiding in the sky. The United States military currently has hundreds of unarmed and armed drones flying over more than a dozen countries. By 2018, the Federal Aviation Administration predicts some 7,500 small commercial drones will be present in the United States alone. In the past decade, drones have become synonymous with airstrikes aimed at eliminating terrorist groups overseas, guided largely by the Central Intelligence Agency's targeted killing program. The Bureau of Investigative Journalism reports that between 2004 and 2014, the CIA organized close to 400 drone strikes in Pakistan, killing more than 3,000 people. And those are just the strikes we know about. It's no wonder these machines have captured the curiosity and fear of the world over. But where did these phantoms of the sky come from? The U.S. Air Force received Pentagon approval to arm the Predator with Hellfire missiles, less than a year before the 9/11 terrorist attacks on New York City. In the immediate aftermath of 9/11, the CIA launched the Targeted Killing Campaign, essentially an approval list from the Pentagon to kill whomever they deemed perpetrators of the 9/11 attacks. This is legal because of what's called an authorization for use of military force, a law Congress passed in the wake of 9/11. Enter the strikes. As the remnants of the terror group Al-Qaeda's leadership fled out of Afghanistan and into Pakistan and Yemen, both sovereign territories, the newly armed drones soon followed. Quietly. And here's where things really started to get messy. Article 2.4 of the Charter of the United Nations protects the sovereignty of member states, meaning they should be free from military incursions during times of peace. But the Obama administration argued the manhunts were permissible because the intended targets, all affiliated with Al-Qaeda in one form or another, posed an imminent threat of attacks on U.S. soil or U.S. interests abroad. Both the CIA and Pentagon have been relatively quiet about who and where they strike. The Bureau of Investigative Journalism reports that the CIA initiated close to 400 drone strikes in Pakistan since 2004, while the Pentagon executed between 66 and 184 in Yemen, plus 20 more in Somalia. But really, given the limited information on strikes, it's difficult to pin down an exact number of casualties.
Right? When we go over there, not minding our own business, in the name of oil and in the name of money, we take over nations, we take over countries, we murder their children again, we murder their families again. We're not over there preaching the gospel, we're there killing people. This government is doing that. And when we do it, that's not terrorism. When they do it, that's terrorism. Can't you see that what they are doing is retaliation because of what we've done to them? And that doesn't justify it. In fact, all of that is evil and wicked, and everybody, they all need to repent. Because as I stated, Islam is the religion of demons. But you have to understand that the sins of America are coming back to haunt it. And there is no turning back in this regards because America has not repented. Or nor is it in track to repent. Because the leader that you all believe is going to make America great again. And then I'll be honest, I had a little bit of hope too. I'm like, man, this Trump guy, wow. You know what? Wow. Only to hear him say that he is going to endorse the LGBTQ community. And there it all went down the window. And then when you saw every single leader of the Republican Party, a lot of them that say that they're Christians, clapping. Let's talk about the sins of America. Let's talk about borders. In our day and age, in terms of countries and borders, I believe that right now, if I had a country, I would be protecting my borders. Absolutely. There's a lot of Islamic people right now who are causing havoc around the world. right? And you have to protect your borders. If you don't protect your borders, you're going to end up in a very difficult predicament. Look at countries like Germany. Germany is a country that you can clearly see what happens when you don't protect your borders. I understand that. I realize that. But you know who else is a great example of protecting your borders? The Native American Indians. Imagine if they had border patrols and border controls then, but they didn't. And sadly, they were pillaged, they were murdered, they were raped, and they were destroyed. Good old USA, right? We don't want to talk about these things though. We prefer to keep on living this mentality of let's make America great again, and you forget, when was it great? What did you consider great? What did you consider great? America is without excuse, and let me explain to you why. The gospel of Jesus Christ has been preached all across America. You can turn on your radio today and you will hear the gospel of Jesus Christ being preached in AM stations and FM stations, Christian music stations. You can go to bookstores, Christian books everywhere, a church in every corner. Yet the church has lost its influence in America because the church wanted to be like the world, right? Oh, and if you think judgment doesn't start at the house of God, you're confused, because judgment is coming, and it's coming, and it starts with the house of God. America is going to have a lot to pay before God because we are without excuse. And granted, there was a time. If you want to tell me let's make America great in terms of the gospel being spread, I'm all for it. Let's make America great in terms of us having conviction, godly conviction in our youth, actually having prayers in school, I'm all for it. But that's not great. That's not the great America that many people are calling great America. The great America that people are calling is my Constitution. People worship the Constitution. A Constitution that mostly they stole from the Arawak Indians. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Let's not touch into that, Tally. Let's not talk about the Iroquois. Let's not talk about that. No.
They then enunciated the Great Law. There is significant influence on the development of American government by Iroquois Haudenosaunee people. The direct influences are the idea of separation of powers, sovereignty in the people, that's we the people. Also, of course, the notion of federalism. The Great Law of Peace maintained peace within the Six Nations, but also developed a model for defense of the Six Nations from external powers. And that, of course, was very interesting to the 13 colonies. Benjamin Franklin published a book called Indian Treaties. In them were speeches by Haudenosaunee and other Native American leaders about peace, about government, and so on. In one instance, in a treaty in Pennsylvania, an Iroquois chief said, you should think seriously about uniting along the lines like us. Then at the Albany Plan of Union in 1754, Franklin uses that as a model and develops the first plan for the union of the colonies. There is a group of Iroquois chiefs that come to Philadelphia, and they are actually sleeping on the second floor of Independence Hall. John Hancock is presiding over the Continental Congress at the time, and the Iroquois had been invited earlier to come down and view this new Continental Congress, and after looking for several weeks, they then make John Hancock the Great Tree. In 1785, when there's great frustration in the government and with the Articles of Confederation. 3 guys say we need to go and examine the Iroquois more closely and then bring that back, and maybe we can construct a new constitution. Those 3 guys are Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe. Jefferson becomes the ambassador to the French, and with Monroe, Madison goes and he rejoins his friend the Grasshopper, who's an Oneida chief who he had known for a long time.
This is why, if you're a disciple of Christ in these end times, you need to remember that this whole illusion that you have of the left versus the right, the Republican versus Democrat, they're all deceiving you. And there are people there that are sincerely, hey, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat. Let me share with you, man. Let me share with you. If you're a disciple of Christ, you need to be very careful. Because what if one day you're called to witness to a Muslim or to a Mexican that crossed the border illegally, and you have to witness to that person? That day is gonna come. And I don't know about you, but I believe that Islam is a religion of demons. But I've never had an Islamic person ever mistreat me. Ever. I sure have had a lot of Christians do so, though. Absolutely. Okay? What am I trying to explain to you here? No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who has chosen him to be a soldier. If Jesus Christ has chosen you to be his soldier, don't entangle yourself with these groups that are aiming simply to get your vote. Think about this. How difficult is it going to be one day, if it ever happens to you, that you're witnessing to a Mexican, right? And you're witnessing to the Mexican, hey man, you need to turn to Jesus Christ, right? And you're like, man, why did you cross this border illegally, dear Mexican? And the Mexican tells you, well, I mean, if you really want to find out, the reality is that when my heritage of Indians were being slaughtered and murdered, they actually fled your land to Mexico, right? And now I'm kind of struggling, so I'm going back to the land that really belonged to them. How are you going to respond to that? You can't. Am I saying it's right for you to come illegally? No, there are legal ways that you can do so. But what I'm trying to share with you today is that they're pitting you against each other. They're making you think that the economy is bad because of a Mexican. They're making you think that you can't get your benefits, black man or Puerto Rican man, because of the Republicans, because of the white people that are racist. When the Democratic Party is as racist as they come, and I said I had a video on that, I put the link earlier. This is all to make you think that it's everyone else's fault, and you forget the sins of America. The slaughter, the murder, the lies, the broken treaties. But hey, if that's what you call great America, I want no part of it. If you want to call great America a nation that's actually surrendering to God, following his commandments, believing in Jesus Christ, count me in. But that's not what your great America is all about. And that's not what a disciple of Christ great America is all about. And I know that this video is going to upset many of you. But have I told you any lies in this video? Does Donald Trump support the gay community and says that he's going to fight against their oppressors? True. It's factual. Do you want to vote for that? Yes or no? If you do, talk to God about that, not me. May God bless each one of you. I love each one of you greatly. I know that this video is going to upset some of you. I realize that. I am a little bit short on time, so I'm going to cut the video short now. But if you have any other questions, post them in the comment section. Share this video with whoever you want to share it with. I love you very much. And on our website, we're there for you always. And understand that my goal with these videos is to at least motivate you to do some research. Do some research. Study the origins of the Constitution. Study Lyndon Johnson and how racist he was. He was a democratic racist person. Study the black genocide that is happening among the people. Study these things. Study your history. And never forget the mistakes that we've made in the past, because there's no new thing under the sun. What happened then is happening now. And if in one day Babylon will burn, imagine how fast America will, if it's not Babylon. Because many people believe it is, and some believe it's not. That's another video for another topic, another day. May God bless you. Thank you for watching. God bless.